billion, while the total net income is 315 billion and the total dividends is 236 billion. Ang capex nila as of that financial statement is 237.8 billion and total loan is 237.6 billion. Based on the report of Transco, na annual report, the total transmission asset is 544 billion compared to the above figures, and the total revenue of NGCP in the past 14 years is 663 billion. Therefore, it has exceeded the valuation of the total transmission asset of Transco of 544 billion. The total concession fee paid by NGCP in the past 16 years is 203.62 billion. That has been overtaken by the total dividends received by its owners of 236, mas mataas pa yung dividends, 236 billion. So with 10 more years under concession agreement, from the point of view of the investors, these numbers are very, very good, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So in other words,
Sharon Karin. The Honorable the Honorable Dan Fernandez is recognized.
so in other words, Mr. Chairman, kasi yung concession fees po nila, no, na babayaran nila in 20 years, 168.9 billion yung kanilang kontrata. Pero yung kinita nila, ang laki-laki na po. At ang totoo dito, yung wealth that is transferred by Transco to NGCP is not even shared to the public. Alam nyo, Mr. Chairman, in accordance with Section 8 of Republic Act 9511, sinasabi dyan that the grantee, the NGCP, shall list subject to the requirements of the Securities and Exchange Commission and the PSE and make a public offering of the shares representing at least 20% of its outstanding capital stock. Alam mo, Mr. Chairman, ang sinasabi po ng batas natin sa Republic Act 9511, Section 8, dapat yung at least 20% ng NGCP are being open or offer to the public. Pero, Mr. Chairman, I have so many questions about this issue wherein indeed the NGCP offered to the public its 20% share in accordance with the provision of Section 8 of Republic Act 9511. Mr. Chairman, we all know that ang breakdown ng ating pong NGCP, 40% yan is owned by the China Grid Corporation and 30% is owned by Monte Oro Grid Corporation and 30% is owned by the Kalaka. The NGCP applied, no? Kasi sabi ng batas 10 years 10 years kailangan bago mag-expired. Simula sila ng 2009 January. Dapat nung January 15, 2019, dapat nakapag-offer na sila sa public nung share na sinabi ng batas 20%. Pero, Mr. Chairman, sa nabasa ko sa website, no, na nakuha ko sa ERC, and try to find out sa website ng NGCP, yung public offering, no, wala po ako nakita, kundi, ang nakita ko is share, swap. Ano ba yung share, swap? Ang share swap, ang nag-uusap, yung iba-ibang, yung mga kumpanya na listed sa Philippine Stock Exchange at sila nag-uusap para makapag-comply doon sa sinasabi nating requirements ng Section 8 na Republic Act 9511. But there is a legal question in here because hindi po nagkaroon ng tunay na public offering.
Correct.
In accordance with Section 8 of Republic Act 9511, kundi nagkaroon ng private transaction between NGCP and the Synergy Grid Corporation, which is still owned by those people who owned NGCP? At, Mr. Chairman, I have found out, no, na ito pong 60% na pag-aari po ng NGCP, no, dalawang kumpanya may-ari niyan, yung pong Monte Oro, which is owned by the One Taipan Holding Corporation, which is owned by Henry C. and Robert Coyuto, at doon sa Kalaka naman, na siya may-ari doon sa NGCP, owned by the Pacific 21, which is 100% owned by the SGP. Now, Mr. Chairman, having said that, sila may-ari ng 60% ng NGCP, nag-offer sila sa public. Pero ang bumili, Synergy, na sila yung may-ari. Now, ang tanong, ERC, I know hindi mo pa panahon to. Ang desisyon na to ay nabasa ko na ang desisyon. About last night when I was reading this decision that was dissented by Commissioner Maceda, no, and approved by the majority, no, ay instead of relying on the final order ordering the NGCP to proceed with the IPO within 6 months, kasi nag-motion for reconsideration pa sila doon eh. Now, ang tanong ko sa iyo, Mona, have you encountered this issue even though na hindi pa ikaw ang chairperson during that time? Can you
Chair
kindly
Di Malanta,
explore on this issue?
Please reply. I think what he's talking about, it's clear. The obligation to sell off a portion of the shares, and the Honorable Fernandez is now saying that it was not done in accordance with what the law requires. Please reply.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I encountered it when we started talking about the reset, Mr. Chair, because
Yes.
part of the reset is to review the compliance of NGCP with all its obligations. And that's when I was advised that I think in 2021, I'm just trying to get the exact dates po, Mr. Chair. In 2021, the ERC allowed or accepted the share swap as an indirect compliance with the public offering requirement in Section 8 of the franchise of NGCP. So I did ask whether this is already in compliance, because the law requires a listing of its shares, of NGCP shares. But this one is complying with it indirectly with the listing of Synergy. Synergy po yung listed company. So, but I understand that the ERC allowed it back in 2021. Di ko lang po alam yung
When you
exact-
say they allowed it, in what form did they allow it? Was there a resolution? Was there a...
There was a compliance filed by NGCP
And,
po, and there was an issuance. I'm just not sure if it's an order or decision.
But
that
in
was
your
issued
opinion,
by-
you're a respected lawyer, a distinguished lawyer, a practicing lawyer. Is that in compliance?
I have my questions po, because the franchise is clear when it says its shares, meaning the franchise holder shares, and these are not the shares of NGCP itself that were listed.
But shares of,
Shares of the parent that are listed. So,
which is in violation.
which does not comply with listing of its shares. But this is a requirement under their franchise, so I defer din
That's
po
right.
to the
That's right. That's something that
committee.
we will take. We will have to study, no? And NGCP, are you
Thank-
compliant?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Chair Mona, for mentioning Section 8 of our franchise. But I draw everyone's attention po to the second part of that provision that clearly states that, and I quote, provided that the listing in the PSE of any company which directly or indirectly owns or controls at least 30% of the outstanding shares of stock of the grantee shall be considered full compliance. So because there was a follow-on offering of SGP, which owns part of NGCP, that is compliant po under 9511. I understand that what you're quoting, that's the first part, but that's the general rule. But there is an option for an indirect listing, which we did, I think, in 2022 or thereabouts, after seeking approval to ensure that the company that does the follow-on offering will comply with the 30% requirement under Section 8. So just a clarification, Mr. Chair. Thank you po.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
We take note of that. And maybe in the subject, in the amendments in the future, that's something that we should look at, because I think it's only NGCP that has that provision.
Yes,
Thank you very much. Yes,
Mr. Chair,
Honorable.
I believe
The
on what
Honorable,
Attorney
Dan
Cynthia were
Fernandez.
mentioning a while ago, that that is provided under the law, Section 8 of Republic Act 9511. But you deceived the ARC precisely when you applied for IPO sa ERC. You never mentioned about the share swap. Have you mentioned the share swap prior to the motion for clarification? Prior to motion for clarification that was applied by the NGCP. Have you mentioned the share swap?
Mr.
yes,
Chair,
please
No,
reply.
please answer that.
Yes or no muna?
No.
Yeah,
It
I think
cannot
that's
be
asking
answered
yes
po
or
by
no.
a yes or no.
Para po tayo
Because
klaro.
the shares...
No, wait. Attorney Cynthia, ang tinatanong ko, prior to the application of motion for clarification of the final order that was made by the ERC on the list of IPO within 6 months, did you mention the share swap?
I cannot answer, Mr. Chair, because I don't
You did
know
not.
what the motion for clarification
You did
is.
not.
And if I may explain, Mr. Chair, the share
proceed.
swap was to ensure the 30% compliance. Because had we not done the share swap, then SGP may not make that 30% compliance requirement.
Yes.
Now, after po the share swap, yung SGP po, ang follow-on offering, there was no IPO, it was a follow-on offering. And because of the share swap with SGP, naging compliant ngayon po yung follow-on offering with Section 8. Without the share swap, hindi po magiging compliant.
Yes, wait, Attorney Cynthia. Yung share swap na sinasabi natin dito, who owns the SGP na nakabili doon sa NGCP na 60% owned by Monte Oro and Calaca?
SGP is owned po,
By?
SGP owns part of NGCP.
Sino nga may-ari?
Now, yung structuring
Sino nga
po,
may-ari
if
ng
I may...
NGCP? Ng SGP? Ng Synergy? Sino?
I will get back to you on that. I don't have the documents on that, Mr. Chair.
Hindi
But,
nyo alam taga-NGCP kayo?
this
Sino
NGCP po, we're talking
sino ang
about SGP. I'm not
majority
part of
shareholder
SGP po.
ng Synergy?
Again, I don't have the documents with me,
Hindi
Mr.
mo
Chair,
alam?
but we will...
Na
Hindi po
mo
ako
alam?
taga-SGP po.
Hindi mo alam
NGCP
na
po
may-ari
ako.
ng 38.94% is
I
Henry
don't have
C?
the documents, Mr. Chair,
Na
right
post mo?
now. I cannot confirm that
Ito,
because
papakonfirm ko sa'yo. Pakita
then
natin.
we would be
Pakikita ko
okay
sa'yo
po
para
with
malaman mo na
if we
ang
have
boss mo
copies
may-ari.
of that.
Na nakabili ng share ng NGCP ay kayo din mismo.
Again, yun naman po ay
Show the
pinalo-on
other.
offering. Even though po ang may-ari ng SGP, that was offered to the public.
38.94% owned by Henry C. Jr. 38.94% is owned by Robert Coyuto. That is 77.88% owned by them na binili ang NGCP. PCD Nominee Corporation, 13.32%. PCD Nominee Corporation, non-Filipino, 7.43%. 77.88% plus 20.75%, that is 98.63%. In other words, kayo ang bumili sa NGCP. At ang natira para sa taong bayan is 1.37%, which is in violation of Section 8 of Republic Act 9511. That I want you to know, na ang nakabili ng share na dapat ay sa public ay ang boss mo mismo.
Mr. Chair, the requirement is for a public offering, and that was done. Now, we cannot, if whoever purchases from the open market, that's a market.
Is it moral?
Again, Mr. Chair,
I'm asking you, it is moral to buy your own? Ikaw bibili. Kaya ang ginawa ninyo hindi nyo nga sinabi yung share swap doon sa discussion ng ERC Ang ginawa
It wasn't
ninyo,
a share
nag-motion
swap po.
kayo for clarification, clarifying the decision of the final order to proceed with the IPO within 6 months. You deceived, as a matter of fact. Si Mr. Francisco, yung inyong consultant who testified in the ERC, even manifested that you have an ongoing discussion starting no November 2019. Pinag-uusapan nyo na po yung IPO. But then suddenly, sa motion for clarification, na instead, na sundin nyo yung final order, you have injected a amendment on the decision of the motion for reconsideration. Mr. Chairman, I think nakikita po natin dito that they abuse the power that was given to them. The franchise that we have given to NGCB was really abused by them. Isa pa lamang to, Mr. Chairman. And for that, Mr. Chairman, this representation wanted to invite yung mga may-ari nung nakabili nung share ng NGCP. Dito si Henry C. Jr., imbitahan po natin si Mr. Robert Cuyuto, at imbitahan din natin itong PCD Nominee Corporation na Pilipino at PCD Nominee Corporation non-Pilipino dahil sila po ay nagko-comprise ng 98% ownership na instead na public ang nakinabang, taong bayan, because very essence of putting the public utilities sa IPO, sa public offering, because ito po entails economic development. It entails transparency and efficiency of the public utilities. Ang mga water concessionaire natin, binigyan po natin sila ng concession. Dahil yun po ang ating intention na maging transparent at ma-involve ang ating pong mga kababayan. Unfortunately, ang ginawa po ng NGCP, yung kanilang supposedly compliance with Section 8 of Republic Act 9511, nakbackdoor sila. Na imbis na ibenta sa taong bayan, sila mismo ang bumili, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable
I have another one issue,
Dan
Mr. Chairman.
Fernandez. We will have asked them. We will give you ample rest, okay, to be able to get your third point across.
Mr. Chair.
For NGCP, I think I'm sure you have an answer to that, no? But you just have to raise it, yes, in paper. I think it's very clear that I think the point of the Honorable Dan Fernandez is that to the public. So, question, and it's 20% of the entire pie, not only 20% of a portion of. So now I think he's now saying that that was not done. Now, ergo, it has violated the very essence of this franchise granted to you by Congress. The Honorable Deputy Speaker, J.J. Swan.
Is so that the public will have a chance to have ownership and say over a public utility. Yun yung intention nung Section 8 na yon. Kasi taong bayan makikinabang, taong bayan magbabayad, so dapat maski papano may boses. Ayon sa sinabi ni Congressman Dan Fernandez, yung public offering po ng NGCP, sila din po ang bumili sa sarili nilang shares. So that in itself is a violation of the intent of Section 8. Now, question, NGCP. Ma'am, question lang po dito sa SGP. So you mentioned earlier that you complied because SGP bought into NGCP. Is this correct?
Mr. Chair, we just reserve the right po to answer the questions of the committee in a position paper po.
No, but you mentioned earlier that you comply. You felt that you were compliant because SGP bought the public offerings, no?
Sorry. Mr. Chair, our previous statements, we will all summarize in a position paper na lang for clarity po.
Can I just ask, does SGP, does it have voting authority?
Mr. Chair, so that we can answer intelligently and with completeness, we will take note of all the questions of the committee and submit answers to the same in a position paper po.
So we don't know whether or not
Wait.
SGP has voting
Nila.
authority.
If you're going to make that position for every question that's going to be asked of you, then how do we proceed?
Mr. Chair, our understanding was that this was a La Nina briefing. Had we known that these things would have been taken up, then we would have better prepared. But these are matters that we can thresh out fully if given the proper time.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I think we're still in line with the briefing because remember, we're talking about performance.
Correct.
And how NGCP addresses performance. And NGCP, the very basis of your performance is your franchise.
But Mr.
So,
Sorry.
there is nothing wrong if we look into your performance because the very bedrock of your performance is the franchise that has been awarded to you by government. Now, if we see that you are not performing well and are deficient in a lot of areas, there's nothing wrong to look and to revisit your franchise because that's the very basis why you're operating.
As
Now, if you feel that we are in violation or whatever, do we have quorum, Mr. Chair?
Yes, we do.
Why?
Yeah.
Yes, we do. But I just would like to make this clear. This is a continuance, and being that we are now still in line because that was the problem of the last hearing. We had to summarize it, and it all boils down to the transmission lines. And that's why everything is being asked here is still in connection with. Ang problema lang po, ma'am, nagsasanga eh. No? May mga pumapasok. Because of your answers, sumasanga rin yung tanong, no? But I think it's still, okay, the questions like, are you ready? Can you do it? Because now they're saying that there are problems and they're now of the position that we may not be ready for problems like this in the future. Parang, that's, so because of the answers, nagsasanga ho yung tanong.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, we recognize, of course, the powers of the committee to look into the performance of NGCP. However, these are details that we are not prepared with today because we were looking more into operational. We are not refusing to answer any of the questions po, but we are saying that the detail at which we're making the discussion, we cannot match the preparedness of Congressman Dan Fernandez and Congressman JJ Suarez. So again, if we will be more than happy po to address these questions, but we request that we be given time to give an intelligent answer because we all want the public to understand the situation, and NGCP, of course, is more than willing for the sake of transparency po.
Okay, thank
Mr.
you
Chair.
very much. We take note of that,
Mr. Chair.
GCP. Before I continue, the chair recognizes the Honorable Jude Asidre of Tingog, Sunny Lagon of Ako Bisaya, and Daphne Lagon of the 6th District of Cebu. So we have a lot of members in Zoom right now. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I just would like to put forward the motion.
Yeah. Yes, may I know what the motion is? Yes.
Given that we are touching on on sections and articles of the franchise being enjoyed by NGCP, I therefore move that the next committee hearing of the Committee on Franchise, we do a thorough review and we do a thorough analysis of the performance of NGCP with respect to its franchise. So moved, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion
Second motion, Mr.
by the
Chair.
Deputy Speaker, J.J. Suarez, duly seconded by the Honorable Dan Fernandez. Are there any objections? The chair hearing no objections, the motion is hereby approved. Proceed. Any questions?
So,
Honorable Dan Fernandez, you have the floor.
To answer the query of DS J.J. Suarez, ano, kung ano yung category ng SGP shares, no? Dito sa decision ng ERC number 2018-014 MC ay nakalagay po dito, SGP only subscribe non-voting preferred shares on NGCP. So meaning, ano bang ibig sabihin ng preferred shares? So wala silang voting capacity. Diba? Wala silang voting capacity. You have to look into this, Mr. Chairman, because kung 20% yung ibinenta sa tao, prepared, non-voting, 40% is owned by China Grid Corporation. Yung 60% owned by the Filipinos, magiging 40% na lang yan. So yung 20% prepared, non-voting. So sino na ngayon ang magdidesisyon? Equal na ang China. Saka yung 40% ng nila Henry C.
Repeat. You're now saying that
Now, what I'm trying to imply here, Mr. Chairman, mayroong din implication sa national security to. Kasi nga, yung binenta nila, non-voting, prepared. Binili na sa NGCP yung 20%. Ang breakdown niyan, 40% owned by China Grid Corporation and 60% owned by Filipinos. Binenta mo ngayon yung 20% sa public. Pero, prepared lang siya. Hindi siya common share. So, mawawala na ng voting power yung mga Pilipinos. Have you seen the implication of this backdoor that they have done? Mayroon pong may national security content. And we have to be wary about this. I don't know, but that is my understanding. It is a decision that I've gotten last night from the website of the ARC.
Congressman Dan, just for clarification, kasi sa dami yun yung present, 40% ang foreign.
Yes,
Alam natin.
China Grid
Now,
Corporation.
because of these share swaps, posible ba na lumagpas na ng 40% ang foreign?
Well, you'll never know. Ha? Oh, may foreign nominee. Makikita mo, Mr. Chairman, no? May PCD Nominee Corporation, 13.32, may 7.43%. And that's the reason why
So-
I wanted that this corporation be invited in the next hearing. PCD Nominee Corporation, non-Filipino. They owned 7.43%, which will be added.
To the 40.
Hindi ko alam, baka mamaya yung China Grid Corporation din ang kumuha nito. Eh di majority na sila. Sa panagbotohan, China na masusunod, hindi na po tayo. As a matter of fact, Mr. Chairman, even before, China naman ang nasunod Di ba? Alam naman natin, si Wenbo, ang pumirma doon sa mga, we have the investigation that we have conducted.
Anyway, we'll go on sa detalye. Can you stay on
Mr.
track
Chairman,
with your
what I'm
questioning
trying to
on the
point out-
shares?
What I'm trying to point out, Mr. Chairman, even before, doon po sa kanilang operation, management of the grid, ayan si Mr. Liu Shangqiang, yung Assistant Chief Technical Officer, siya pumipirma. Management sila. Even si Lee Sinhua, Chairman of the Board of Audit Committee, approving authority, si Anthony Almeida, witness nga lang Si Mr. Wenbo, Chief Technical Officer, is the approving authority for such hiring. Siya nag-hire, Chinese. Hindi pa nga nabibili ang share ng mga foreigners, sila na nagdidesisyon. What more? Pag sila na may-ari ng mga shares.
We take note of that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
At that in the future, in the next hearing. So now, may we now ask, before we now proceed, no, I would like to now ask
Mr. Chair, just before your question, I just want to ask something.
the Honorable Deputy Speaker. I will wave to our dear Deputy Speaker, J.J. Suarez.
Gusto ko lang malaman ewan ko lang kung sasagutin pa tayo ng NGCP. Maybe from DOE. Itong kinikita ba ng NGCP is taxable?
Mr. Chair, based on the franchise, it's a 3% in lieu of all, whether it's national or local taxes.
So you're saying they are not paying any income tax?
No, sir. But Mr. Chair, I think in a better position would be ERC because sila yung mag.
So meaning
Yes,
the
yes,
only
Mr.
thing that they're paying for is
Is that-
franchise.
That's correct, Mr.
And
Chair.
and how much percent is that?
That's 3% in lieu of all taxes. 3% of gross revenues in lieu of all taxes.
So ito po kasi Mr. Chair yung point ko, medyo nakakakulo ng dugo. Ang laki-laki na nga ng kinikita nila, ang laki-laki ng dividendo nila, hindi pa sila nagbabayad ng buwis kasi nasa prangkisa nila na hindi sila dapat magbayad ng buwis kasi lang mahal-mahal ang presyo ng kuryente. Dahil nagbabayad tayo sa mga proyektong hindi pa tapos. Kung kakwentahin natin, ewan ko lang kung kayang makwenta ngayon to ng DOE at saka ng ERC. Kung kakwentahin natin, magkano yung naidadagdag sa binabayad ng isang Juan de la Cruz para sa mga proyektong hindi pa tapos? Kasi sinabi nyo, nagbabayad tayo sa mga proyektong hindi pa tapos. Ngayon, para mas maunawaan lang ng mga Pilipino, magkano yun? May kwenta na po ba tayo doon?
Medyo mahirap pong kwentahin yun sa lahat ng project, but we can try, Mr.
No, but
Chair.
okay. So, Chairman Dimalanta, let's say at 100 pesos. Let's say X equals 100 pesos. This is how much the Filipino people are paying. On a, let's say, how do you see it? Average number, 100 pesos. Magkano dun sa 100 pesos ay yung mga proyektong hindi pa tapos na binabayaran natin? Would you say 20%, 30%?
Hindi po kasi siya 1:1, Mr. Chair. For
Yes, I
example, yung pong portion na binabayaran na natin, pero hindi pa kompleto, mako-compute po namin yon. Pero meron din po kasing yung tinatawag nating cost of energy not served. Dahil po hindi nila nakompleto, hindi nakapasok yung generator, for example, so may cost din po yon. Yun pong consumers na hindi napagsilbihan, gumamit po ng ibang kuryente, diesel generator, for example po. Sinasama po namin yun sa computation. So yun po yung cost of alternative energy supply. May per project po, may costing po tayo dyan. So mabibigay naman po namin yun. Pero
Yeah, so...
in billions po kasi yun, Mr.
Hindi
Chair.
kasi, syempre ako, nagbabayad kami ni Ana ng kuryente buwan-buwan. Eh di, ang alam kasi namin, pag nagbayad kami, base to sa ginamit namin. Kaya kami nagagalit sa bahay minsan pag naiiwang bukas ang aircon kasi nakikita namin tumataas yung metro namin, bayad sa Meralco. Kasi yun pala, may mga binabayaran tayo na hindi pala natin pinakikinabangan. Tama po ba yun?
Ganun po yung nangyayari pa.
That's highway robbery, ah.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sorry.
I think that
To point that out because, you know, we have to talk about efficiency. We need to talk about improving government services. We need to improve about, you know, bettering utilities for the Filipino, which is basic. You know, electricity is just like water. You can't live without it now. So we cannot allow such situation where someone is definitely benefiting so much while the Filipino people continue to suffer. So I think, Mr. Chair, thank you for supporting my motion, and I would like to yield to the chairman for that point.
Thank you very much. Yusek Sharon Garin, you have the floor.
Mr. Chair, I think the calculations, one agency that can derive a number, but I don't know if exactly they can derive what DS Suarez would want is IMAP, Mr. Chair. They can also do simulations on that, Mr. Chair.
Yes, can we, on the suggestion of the Honorable Undersecretary Sharon Garin, you're recognized.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chair. Yes, we can po.
Pero you don't have that right now. So
Oh,
please prepare
we-
for the next hearing.
Will do, Mr. Chair.
The question, that exact question will be raised by the Deputy Speaker again, and we will call you first. Okay, thank you. So the Honorable Suarez, they will prepare that answer in the next hearing.
Okay.
Uh, Put him on screen. Honorable Rog, welcome to the committee hearing. You may now ask your question.
Mr. Chair, Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, just a quick manifestation because I agree with the sentiments of DS Suarez and I support the motion to convert this to a thorough review of the franchise. I wanted to bring this up earlier, but given that Section 8 is talking about the dispersal of ownership, as we've seen with other franchise hearings we've had, Mr. Chair, this is usually there to temper interests of those who are currently holding the franchise and to level the playing field with the public. So as we can see, we can't talk about inefficiency, we can't talk about La Nina preparedness without talking about conflict of interest. So I really do agree that we should look into Section 8. With that, Mr. Chair, I would just like to request that through the committee and through the chair, most respectfully, we request for the documents that were being referred to earlier. May we request from SGP, Synergy, Grid, the share swap agreement that they might have had with NGCP, and maybe also request, Mr. Chair, for the documents that SGP presented to the PSE for their IPO. I think this would be very helpful for us moving forward, especially if since the motion was granted, and we'll be taking that in the next hearing. Yun lamang po, Mr. Chair, for the consideration of the body. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Rog. NGCP, did you take note of the request?
Yes, Mr. Chair, we are taking note of all the requests. Yes, Mr. Chair, even the one given online po.
Okay, thank you very much. So that's clear. Please submit those documents. And the position that all these questions really started because of the transmission issue. Kaya ako nagsasanga-sanga itong mga tanong at nanganganak because also of the answers raised by NGCP. And we have to be very, very clear because at the end of the day, it's public interest, public good, ang bottom line po nito. That's why yan po talaga ang titignan po natin. So now, yes, the Honorable J.J. Suarez, you're recognized.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I just need to amend my motion earlier.
Yes.
Since we have sufficient numbers of members present with us online, may I call on the members of the committee to vote on conducting a motu proprio inquiry for the review of the congressional franchise of NGCP. I move a referendum be made on this matter. So move, Mr. Chair.
There's a motion by the Honorable Deputy Speaker J.J. Suarez. Any second? The Honorable Dan?
Second motion, Mr.
There's
Chair.
a second motion. I didn't know kasi you opened your mic. So
Yes,
the second by the Honorable Dan Fernandez. Comsec. Any objections? If there are none, therefore we now, the motion is hereby approved. We now proceed.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, the Honorable Dan Fernandez.
prior to my
May
next...
mga okay, pabusin ko muna yung mga tanong nyo kasi may mga tanong din ako. Pero unahin ko muna kayo.
Sige, prior to the next issue that this representation would like to tackle, Mr. Chairman, I just wanted to ask yung NGCP about doon po sa NGCP attorney, kasi years ago, ang National Transmission Corporation or Transco, sumulat si Mr. Henry C., ang President and CEO, sa kanya about the establishment or engaging yung pong NGCP in other businesses without prior consent of the PISAM. Are you familiar with this issue?
No, Mr. Chair. If we have a copy of that, maybe we can answer.
Yes. Kasi ang NGCP po ay nagtayo ng mga telecommunication, doon sa mga sub-transmission natin na under the concession agreement. And these have been discussed thoroughly sa Senate, dito sa Congress, etong mga facility na to. And we asked before if these facilities were dismantled. So siguro isama nyo na lang po sa report nyo kung these facilities were dismantled. But because, Mr. Chairman, yung telecommunication business na dollars, $22 billion ang pwede nating projected income dun sa optical fiber that can be put on the grid, Napakalaki po ng negosyong pwede nating makuha dito. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I think it is imperative on this government and on this Congress to really review their franchise dahil nga meron po tayong nawawalang potential pagdating po doon sa paggamit ng ating pong grid. Hindi po ito nakita nung ito po'y pinirmahan tong concession agreement. Doon possibility that this telecommunication can be taken advantage by this government. And I think we need to discuss the importance of this business that this government must be put on this different sites, yung ating mga sub-transmissions. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, I think, alam mo to, Attorney Cynthia, meron po tayong property na owned by the Social Security System doon sa Pasay. Ito po ay 60,500 square meter. At doon po sa pagtatayo sa Pasay ng 230 kilovolts substation project, it requires only 2,000 square meter. So ang tanong ko, bakit po natin binili yung 60,852 square meter na property doon po sa Pasay na pag-aari ng SSS?
Mr. Chair, we will draft our answer, submit our answer, written form.
And also, please try to answer back on this issue dahil yung pong property na binili ng NGCP, nakapangalan po sa NGCP. Tandaan po ninyo, hindi po kayo ang may-ari nito. Ito'y pag-aari ng gobyerno. And that's the reason why we're asking why the purchase of the property sa Pasay na pag-aari ng Social Security System, nag-file ang NGCP ng expropriation, and they were able to purchase the 60,000 square meter property and put the name under the NGCP. Okay, so please put that in your record as well. Yes.
Can I just add that it's not just SSS, there's also cases of NPC and PSAL, Mr. Chair. Similar manner.
So how many, Mr. Chair?
And our record is just 3 government agencies.
3 government agencies.
Yes,
I think also the sa Barangay Bitin, sa Bae Laguna, na kung saan, doon po ako nanggaling, Barangay Bitin, Bae Laguna, in connection with the Lumban EHB Bae 230 kilovolts transmission is under also the expropriation. And kung inilalagay nila sa kanilang pangalan yung property at ang contention nila ay ipapangalan sa atin after the concession agreement expired, then yung property baka tumaas na during that time. So mahirapan ng gobyerno to pay it back or to buy back the property. So dapat ngayon pa lamang, Mr. Chairman, nasa pangalan na po yan ng Transco. Dahil Transco po ang ay pag-aari po ng gobyerno. So yun po ang ating pong isang contention that I think there is also a violation on the part of the NGCP on putting the name of a private company on the property that was expropriated by them and by the government in favor sa kanila. Sa kanila nakapangalan. Hindi po sa atin. So, doon pa lamang nakikita po natin ang maraming mga violation that was committed by the NGCP. So, Mr. Chairman, pupunta na po ako sa last. Kasi po
Mr. Chair.
pinag-uusapan kanina, binabanggit po ni Attorney Cynthia yung we're talking about yung kanilang operation dahil nga po La Nina na. Yes.
Mr. Chair,
Sharon, before we ask the Honorable Dan to continue, the Honorable
yes,
Yusek.
just on the topic on the expropriation, because there is a ruling of the ERC na hindi pwede sila to expropriate if there is no ERC ruling. And exactly the problem why the problem is exacerbated by the fact that it's under the name of a private company. Had it been a government agency expropriating, even for our developers, ang DOE kasing nagsumusulat sa owners for the expropriation proceedings and that medyo yun yung usual course ng expropriation. Now, if it's a private company, then it becomes longer and more complicated and more bound to the expensive and even more bound to certain rules. Pero kung government yan, Transco or DOE, then beyond the franchise and beyond the IPIRA law, pwedeng may right ang gobyerno mag-expropriate, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Yusek Sharon Garin. Any other question for any
Kasi,
other member?
Mr. Chair.
The Honorable Dan Fernandez.
Kasi nga, yun nga po ang tatanong ko rin sa NGCP eh. Kasi sa logo lang nila, makikita mo na ang feeling ng NGCP, sila po may-ari ng transmission at hindi po gobyerno. Kung papansinin po ang kanilang logo, hindi ko alam kung meron tayong logo dito eh. Hindi po, dapat sinasama nyo ang Transco eh. Dahil gobyerno may-ari ng transmission, hindi po NGCP. At kung ang may-ari po ng transmission ay gobyerno, dapat sa logo nyo nakasama ang Pilipinas. Hindi nyo inaari ang transmission. Now, Mr. Chairman, balik po tayo doon sa nangyari noong January 2, 2024. Alam naman po natin, Mr. Chairman, na nagkaroon tayo ng going back to the premise of Attorney Cynthia, that La Nina, papasok na po La Nina. Noong January 2 ng 2024, nagkagulo po sa Panay. Alam naman natin that lahat tayo nasa bakasyon. Pumasok ang Kongreso para pag-usapan lang yung problema ng Panay, power interruption. We have invited si Roel Castro sa Panay. I think he's still in here. So, ang tanong ko sa NGCP, ang pinag-usapan po natin doon ay yung pong ancillary services. So, sa ancillary services po na binabanggit, it is the obligation of the operator, which is the NGCP, to supply for the reserve capacity, contingency, and yung tinatawag nating what's this? Disposable. So, ang tanong ko po, prepared na po ba tayo doon po sa ating mga tinatawag na mga reserves? Firm na ba lahat ang mga contracts natin at wala na po tayong non-firm?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So, pagdating sa Luzon, ilan po ang naka-alat natin para po sa tinatawag nating reserve capacity? Sa regulating reserve, ilan po ang
Mr. Chair,
megawatts?
yeah, sorry. May I clarify po?
Yes.
For our ancillary services procurement, we were required by the Department of Energy to conduct a CSP. Now, the competitive selection process was conducted and finished in 2023, I think 2023. And then in 2024, we were also required to purchase a certain percentage from the ancillary services reserve market that was established in January of this year. So we have finished conducting the CSP, and the reserve market, which was launched in January po, was reinstated and then subsequently suspended and again reinstated last July. So umaandar na po yan. So yung requirement po ng NGCP na mangontrata ng firm contracts under the CSP, tapos na po yan. At yung iba po, binibili natin sa merkado.
So, pagdating sa Suarez, it's an honor, Mr. Chairman, to be called Dan Suarez.
It only means that it's Christmas.
Okay. According sa ASPP, yung contingency reserve natin na kailangan natin sa Luzon, firm contracts, 647 megawatts. Are you compliant with this?
Mr. Chair, the data I will get for you. I'll have them from the SO. But in terms of contracting, we have complied with the directive to do CSP, and we are purchasing what is required from the reserve market. But again, it really depends on what is on offer.
Ito, Attorney Cynthia, magja-January na ha. Baka mamaya yung mga congressman na naman natin sa Iloilo, ayan, katulad ni Yusek Sharon Garin, tagaroon yan. Baka mamaya mag-outage na naman tayo, todas na naman tayo dyan. So, ang kailangan natin sa Luzon, firm contract, 647 megawatts. Sa Visayas, 150 megawatts. Sa Mindanao, 150 megawatts. Ba't ko sinasabi, ito yung contingency reserve? Ang ibig sabihin, kailangan ninyo magkaroon ng ancillary services, primary reserve, na yung pinakamalaking planta sa Luzon. Nagka-cater siya ng 647. Kapag yung nag-failed, kailangan meron tayong pampalit doon, which is 647 megawatts ang pinakamalaki natin sa Luzon. Sa Visayas is 150 megawatts. Sa Mindanao, 150 megawatts. These are all the ancillary services that we need for Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao for contingency reserve alone. Meron din tayong tinatawag na dispatchable reserve. Sa dispatchable reserve, Attorney Cynthia, kailangan din natin sa Luzon ng 647 megawatts, sa Visayas 135 megawatts, and Mindanao 150 megawatts. Kung meron tayong reserve sa Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, dito para sa contingency reserve and dispatchable reserve, there is no reason para tayo magkaroon ng outage ngayong darating na January. If ever, na magkaroon tayo, you have said and manifested in here that we have complied with ancillary services, then I will take your word for that. Attorney Cynthia. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At least yung mga taga-Panay at Negros and other part of our country ay meron po tayong ancillary services. Meron tayong regulating reserve, meron tayong contingency reserve, meron po tayong dispatchable reserve, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Maraming salamat po, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. The Chair recognizes from Cagayan de Oro City, the Honorable Lord Dan Swan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just like to ask a few questions
Yes,
regarding
please. You have
on the
the floor.
topic of delayed projects. Attorney Cynthia, you said earlier that these are large capex projects and are not ordinary projects. What did you mean by that?
Our projects po are in the billions. My example then was the CNP3. That's from the top of my head, 72 billion. The Hermosa San Jose, that's 21 billion.
Yes, and what did you mean by what is the difference between ordinary and large capex projects in relation to the topic of delayed projects?
My point there, Mr. Chair, was that if you purchase a small value good, let's say a cell phone, you are generally required to pay for it before. You are generally required to be able to use it before you pay. So it has to be workable. But for bigger construction projects like ours, there's a line of thought or
You mean like the consumers are required to pay before the project is completed because of the huge amount of capital involved?
and also to smoothen the impact of the payments to the consumer, so that instead of paying for, let's say, the 22 billion plus the 72 billion plus the other capex projects that we finished in the last 12 months, instead of paying for that in one go, it is spread out.
So that is your reasoning behind having the consumers pay before the project is finished.
That is the rationale behind the regulatory framework that Chair Mona mentioned, that it's forward-looking. So that is really the whole purpose of that, is in the vernacular, para hindi mabulunan ang mga konsumante, para utay-utay nilang babayaran yung napakalaking requirement para mapalawak yung transmission grid at hindi isang bultuhan ang bayaran.
Okay. You also mentioned about 1% recovery.
Again, Mr. Chair, that is in reference to the fact that we went and proceeded with the construction of our projects despite not having a regulatory reset process. So in the case of those two projects, just in the case of those two projects,
Is that the Panay and
Cebu
Hermosa?
Negros Panay po and the Hermosa San Jose. In the case of those two projects, if you go and look at the records of the ERC, the allocation for recovery of those projects that are finished, commissioned, and are being used right now is less than 1%.
What do you mean by the allocation by the ERC? Can you explain it?
Sige po. Normally po kasi yung pinaliwanag ni Chair Mona earlier, kung nangyari po yung reset process for the 2016 to 2021 regulatory period, na ilatag na ng NGCP ng lahat ng ibig niyang gastusin between those years. At ang regulatory framework na dinatnan po ng NGCP, ibig sabihin po noon we stepped into the shoes of Transco, that would have been charged accordingly over those 5-year period. Pero dahil po hindi nangyari yung reset process, napilitan po si NGCP na humingi ng interim revenue scheme para lang ho tumuloy ang negosyo kasi hindi naman po pwedeng tumuloy yan kung wala po kaming papasok na pamuhunan. So, ang nangyari po doon is hindi ho talaga naka-allocate yung na kasama ho doon sa revenue namin sa kada project. So, yun po yung pinapaliwanag namin na in that particular case, these big ticket projects, maliit ang allocation. There are other projects that have allocations. That's why it's very important po talaga na moving forward that the reset process must be conducted on time. Kasi po nagkakagulo na, you have a forward-looking framework. NGCP was forced to work on the existing rules at that time. And although we recognize the concerns that these rules may or may not be, in the opinion of certain factions, not the ideal, we are left in a situation po na may actual cost ka working in a forward-looking regulatory framework without rules, and unclear kung anong rules dapat ang sinunod. Ang NGCP naman po kasi sinusunod lang po namin yung batas at regulasyon na in place at the time we act.
So you're talking about the retroactive application of the rules?
Yes, Mr.
I
Chair.
also remember that you mentioned something earlier that some rules retroacted which resulted in unfairness on the part of the NGCP?
I'm not sure I said the word unfair today, but it does lead us into a situation po where the CAPEX has been expended. Nagastos na ho namin natapos na po yung 2016. And at that time po, yung rules noon wala. So wala ho kami talagang choice kung di i-assume na yung last approved rules, yun po yung gagamitin namin. Hindi po kasi kami pwedeng mag-imbento ng sarili naming rules. So ngayon po, kung papalitan yung rules na gagamitin for the past years, mahirap pong sabihin na dapat hinulaan ni NGCP na 10 years later, magbabago yung rules. So I don't want to qualify it as unfairness, but that is the situation we are in, na tapos na po yung mga taong yun, ginamit ho namin yung huling inaprobahang rules. Tapos, kung magbabago po yung rules na ipapataw dun sa mga taong yon, mahihirapan ho kaming sagutin kung bakit naging ganon yung action under the new rules because those rules did not exist when we acted.
Okay. May I ask Chairman Lisa Dimalanta regarding her comment? Because I remember you said something regarding that topic earlier in response to Attorney Cynthia.
Thank you po. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I suppose it's on the last part po, yung about the retroactive rate making. Opo. I think, kaya nga po kanina pinaliwanag ko po na ang posisyon naman po namin ay hindi siya retroactive rate making or retroactive rule making kasi nga po walang rates or walang rules that were governing that period. Whatever was issued by ERC were clear to everyone, to all stakeholders as an interim arrangement only. Tama naman po yung sinabi ni NGCP na ay ano pong susundin namin kung wala pong rules. So ang ginawa po nila, in-apply po nila yung kung ano yung nakasanayan nila during the previous 5-year period. But from our end, it is with the understanding that there will be rules that will come out later. Because hindi po, lalo na po, yung very fundamental po yung diferensya Kasi po, forward-looking nga po yung approach. So, how can we still do a forward-looking approach when the period had already passed? So it's not a matter of discretion. It's a matter of what is workable. It cannot be, we could not work backwards because it's forward-looking. Sana nga po kung may na-file na, pwede po nating estimate and konti lang yung diferensya. Pero ito po, ilang taon po yung diferensya. So, yun naman po yung sinusubukan ng komisyon na tapusin para nga din po makausad na po tayo talaga dun sa forward-looking if that will remain the regulatory framework moving forward.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. May I ask Attorney Cynthia, you said earlier that you no longer have any delayed projects, right? And
No, Mr. Chair, the statement was we are on time for
You're
the
on time.
SIS po, the
Okay.
system impact studies.
okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Lord Dan Swan of Cagayan de Oro City, First District. For NGCP, ma'am, pwede lang magtanong, meron pa po tayong mga projects na kung saan yung lupa ay ating dapat binili pero hindi po natin nababayaran kaya nagkakadelay po ang mga proyekto natin.
Mr. Chair, our mode of acquiring right away, dalawa po yun, negotiated or ex-pro. Yung sa negotiated
Let's talk
po,
of negotiated.
I'm sorry po.
Negotiated.
For negotiated po, bago po namin mapasok at magamit yung proyekto, meron na ho kaming kasulatan. Minsan ho talaga nade-delay yung full payment dahil po may mga requirements na hindi ma-submit yung landowners. But in general, they are given, may kasulatan na po, deed of sale or other documentation. Tapos po, may mga payments na. But admittedly, there are areas where hindi pa po fully paid because of documentary requirements.
And would this non-payment because of lack of documentary requirements delay the plan to or delay the implementation of the project?
In general, no, Mr. Chair, because when we negotiate with a landowner, it begins with, of course, yung price, and when that's been agreed, we give them a list of requirements to submit so that we can document po yung property rights. Kasi malaki hong problema talaga pag walang kasulatan over the right of way. We encountered that during Transco's time. So, very important po talaga na maisulat or may kasulatan yung right-of-way namin. And then, there is a payment, and then also they will sign a permit to enter. So, the delay in payment ought not to delay entry into the property po, so that we can build the lines. However, that's a general rule, Mr. Chair. However, there have been cases where, although we have the proper documentation already, signed documents, or even in some cases, writs of possession from the court, hindi ho kami pinapasok. And maximum tolerance po kami dyan. We try to negotiate anyway. So when there is resistance from the landowner, even though they've already agreed to the right of way, minsan ho talaga, yung resistance ho yung nakakatagal. Yung payment ho, hindi ho dapat makatagal. Yung resistance po.
So, pero posible po ba yung bilhin yung property at saka yung right of way are two different people or entities? Different groups, pwede yun, di ba? Posible, dito ko magtatayo, pero yung right of way ay iba or pareho po yan? Usually,
Mr.
it's the
Chair,
same person.
lahat naman po, as long as hindi illegal, pwede. Pero that might cause a problem for us and cause more delay.
So you make sure that kung saan kayo magtatayo, yung right of way is also the same person you're talking to. Pareho pa rin.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
Yung owner, yung right of way property, yung pagdadaanan,
Opo.
no? To that property
Yes.
na pagkatayuan nyo ng transmission lines, usually parang tao yan. Hindi yung nag-iiba. Am I correct.
The owner of the property and
Yes.
the person who has rights over the
Yes.
property. Usually they're the same po. I mean the person
No,
who has
kasi I
rights.
thought that just one delay could be, ito may-ari ng property, pero yung right of way may problema to that property. That's how I understood you earlier. So akala ko you're talking to two different people.
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay. So you're always talking to the same person.
Usually.
Okay, thank you very much. The Honorable Sharon Garin. I'm sorry? Oh. Okay. The Honorable Yusek Sharon Garin
Yes.
has a slide that you would like to show us.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Just on the question kasi earlier is like what is the impact of climate change or La Nina on electricity? We've tracked the peak demand all throughout the year. And then if we can show lang the graph that I sent, sana. Because the peak demand changes by the kung ang heat index umaakyat, Mr. Chair. Yeah, just one page lang. Nakama. The last one.
Can
I
you
said
please
lang.
flash the slide of
While they're looking
DOE.
for the slide, Mr. Chair, how we address kasi the climate change issue in energy, Mr. Chair, is we want to do a transition, no? Transition to renewable energy, transition to a cleaner energy. So, ang push ngayon ng bakit namin ginagawa yan? Because there's climate change. But also, in one sense, we are also causing a climate change because we still haven't transitioned. So, ngayon, we're highly dependent on coal and fossil fuel. So, ang nangyayari ngayon, hindi namin ma-push ang mandate of the President, which is to have 35% renewable by 2030 and accelerating up to 2050 na 2040 na mga 50% na siya. Ang importance kasi ng yung heat index, yung init, makikita niyo po kasi sa demand kasi sa electricity during summer. Andiyan na ba? Ay, hindi mo makuha. Alright, I'll just say the numbers natin. Wait lang, Mr. Chair. So, ang peak demand kasi, ang normal, kung actual peak demand ng 2024 April was 14,000 megawatts, 14,016 megawatts. Pero nung umaakyat yung peak demand niya, kasi umakyat din yung heat index into 48.3, naging 15,252 din siya. So it is very important. It's very relevant for the industry yung climate change. So that's why we've been pushing really for more renewables para makatulong din yung nakakatulong sa climate change pero nakakatulong din siya sa peak demand natin. And I just wanted to read the statement of the agency. The increase in global temperatures as well as the prevalence of extreme weather events in the Philippines in recent years. We need more decisive action to address climate change. The pace of which emissions continue to increase, projections indicate a much warmer climate by the end of the 21st century, with the potential temperature increases between 3.5 to 4.4 degrees Celsius. The impact of this, Mr. Chair, we can see there will be a spike in electricity demand. Marami tayong losses, marami tayong outages because of the generation companies. And also, Mr. Chair, the price of electricity may be affected. So I think if we do fix most of the problems in electricity, which is probably regulatory, also the transmission, it is rightfully so. Dapat siguro tignan yung transmission if we want also to make a significant change on the impact of climate change on electricity prices, Mr. Chair. Kasi pag maayos natin. It's not just transmission, there's generation issue, distribution, and also regulatory. But this is one factor also that can influence the prices to go down, even though we have a hotter climate in the Philippines in the future, Mr. Chair. Kaya DOE is really steadfast in this statement na kailangan talaga iayusin lahat, including transmission. Now, ang problem lang kasi we keep on pushing for 35% na renewable, and we have over 1 trillion investments in the Philippines already. Ang problema, Mr. Chair, kung we have had many cases already na tapos na yung project, wala pa yung transmission niya. And these projects have gone through SIS, all the evaluation already. So, for example, Mr. Chair, yung may rates tayo dyan, we made a preliminary estimate. Marami kasi yan matatapos na sana this month, pero hindi pa tapos yung transmission nila. Delayed talaga basta delayed yung pag-connect nila. Pag may power ka na, pag may solar farm ka, di mo na hihintayin yan, mag-produce ka na lang ng produce kasi may araw na So ang estimate namin on wind power projects, on onshore projects, the expected losses because of the delayed projects of the developers is 68,272,413,362. For offshore wind, this is bigger because these are bigger projects. The total expected lost revenue of our developers is 251,465,760,000 pesos. Sa solar, sir, 4,563,282,95 pesos. A total of 324 billion ang losses ng generation companies dahil sa delay ng transmission. That also affects our targets, Mr. Chair. That will also affect the price of electricity. So, ang delay kasi hindi lang yan just for the compliance or TDP, compliance of the regulation of ERC, but it will basically redound to the effect on each household in the Philippines. Kasi pag ma-delay yan, sayang naman, wala tayong transition, nagiging mahal pa. Ito po, sir, yung chair, yung picture, just to yung graphic illustration of what is the effect of the heat index in the demand. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. So, I think that's clear enough that any delay definitely has an impact
Yes,
and
sir.
a cost. It will definitely impact also on the prices.
Yes, sir.
And that will definitely be shouldered by the consumer. Yun ang sinasabi nyo. Whether wala, kasi dalawang issue. Unang issue, kakulangan. Pangalawang issue, presyo ng kuryente. So there are two issues that has to be, that I think we're tackling in this hearing, no? Which goes back to the preparedness of any possible calamity issues that we're going to have in the future. I just would like to ask Nea, meron po kayong mga suggestions? I mean, after hearing all of this, meron po kayong mga suggestions as far as amendments to EPIRA or the NGCP's grant?
Good morning, good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Good
As
afternoon.
I was listening to the discussion, I would like to believe that during the next meeting there will be a lot of operational issues
Yes.
that will be brought out, and it's a good thing that I'm here to hear all the discussions, and would like to proactively prepare for all these operational issues to support any discussion. Well, I would adhere to the suggestion of Kong J.J. Suarez. It's really happening that the substation operations of NGCP is lacking in capacity. As case in point, in the province of Pangasinan, there are 3 electric cooperatives that are supposed to be benefiting already on the renewable developers or the renewable plans in line or in the pipeline. But however, there would be a delay that would be incurred because of the inability of NGCP to provide capacity in their substation operations. Things like that, Mr. Chair.
Thank
Mr.
you
Chair.
very much, the Honorable, Mr. Almeida,
Mr. Chair.
for joining us. Yes.
Yes.
The Honorable John Suarez, JJ Suarez.
Other than Pangasinan, Mr. Chair, can NEO also identify other areas where we have the same situation?
I would, Mr. Chair, I would do that, Mr. Chair, and prepare all this information relating to that. Thank you.
So,
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, because meron din po akong mga dumadating na report sa akin when it comes to submarine cables, underwater submarine cables that connect to inter-islands. So mukhang pati yung issue na yon kailangan din natin mabuksan at mapag-aralan kasi may mga reklamo din pong dumadating sa atin patungkol sa efficiency ng mga cables na yon at saka sa performance ng NGCP on that aspect.
Thank you very much, the Honorable. Yes, the Honorable Mr. Almeida.
Yeah, the recent event in Siargao, luckily it was already solved last Saturday or 2 Saturdays ago. Siargao is awaiting for the interconnection of NGCP to connect the island to the main grid. What is functioning there right now is the cooperative-owned limited capacity of submarine cables. So hopefully NGCP can look into that because the development of Siargao is being suppressed because of the lack of power for the other developers to be serviced by Siargao Electric Cooperative.
Thank you very much. So, how long was Siargao out of electricity? I heard more than a week. I was supposed to conduct a hearing, but I found out na okay na.
Yeah,
That's why I canceled that. Kasi naayos na raw.
Mr. Chair, the fault happened December 1. We were able to restore power through the repaired submarine cable by December 14. So total
2
of
weeks.
13 days. 13 days.
Almost 2 weeks. Huh? And right now, it's operating 100%. I mean, more or less, it's back to what it was before?
The power coming from the submarine cable is a bit managed because it was later found out that it can only deliver effectively 12 megawatts. Now, the total peak demand of Siargao is at 16 megawatts. So we were able to put on a timely deployment of diesel gensets to augment and service the whole peak demand, Mr. Chair.
NGCP, I think they're waiting for you.
Mr. Chair, just to clarify, Kinea Chair.
Yes, please.
The submarine cable that failed was owned by Sharelco. And we do have a project to interconnect, but that has not had ERC approval. It's filed, kailan lumabas? Hindi pa namin natatanggap.
Oo nga.
So
Pero
again,
but we approved it na, Mr. Chair.
hindi pa namin natatanggap. So as far as we're concerned, we have yet to receive. And again, this was filed in the 5th RP. So in that respect, Mr. Chair, there is no delay to speak of because the failure was not on the part of NGCP. In fact, we did help Sharelco a lot. We sent our equipment and 2 metering and testing teams plus a 9 personnel. We did understand that it was very terrible to have no power for, I think, almost 3 weeks. But
2
NGCP
weeks.
tried to do its part for Sharelco over and beyond po our mandate.
So, as we speak, wala na po kayong obligasyon sa Sharelco or sa Siargao or wala na po?
In terms of right now, again, we have yet to receive the approval of the project. But this project, if that they're going, well, yun nga po, may project po dyan talaga, pero hindi pa namin natatanggap yung approval. And projects will take a long time to build. It's not going to be ready next month.
So,
Mr. Chair, just to manifest.
Maybe just to, maybe you can, yes, ERC.
We
Can you-
will, there was a project application filed by NGCP, but we noted that there was an amendment, parang ililipat po yata yung connection point. So actually, hindi hinold pala namin yung review because there was an amendment of the design. So it's part of our ongoing evaluation, Mr.
How long will that take?
We're-
Chair Di Malanta.
Opo. We're targeting all these pending with us by Q1 of 2025, Mr. Chair. Kasi po actually bumilis na yung review namin ng mga pending projects po.
So, by Q1 of 2025, so when does NGCP come in? After Q1?
Actually, Mr. Chair, for many of these projects, nasimulan na rin naman nila. So I just don't know for this particular one kung nasimulan na po nila or kung anong status po ng project.
NGCP, nakapagsimula na ba kayo dyan?
Again, Mr. Chair, it's hard to start projects without a framework to work around. Apart from the fact that
No, but I think they're saying that you're able to do that. You're able to start without, because eventually
in the past-
approval is coming.
in the past we have been, but again, by experience, the Supreme Court ruling has been cited by many of our counterparts as a reason to not issue us the required paperwork to proceed. So while in theory we can, the Supreme Court ruling is proving to be a huge hindrance to us.
Anyway, we all know that Siargao is one of the more popular tourist destinations in the country, and power there is very important.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we
And,
fully support.
Please take a look at that closely. I
Thank you,
think
Mr. Chair.
we have to move a little faster, especially for areas like this, no? That brings work and improves the economy, not only of that area, but the entire Philippines. I mean, we know that our major revenue is coming in from tourism. The Honorable Almeda. Mr. Almeda, Chair Almeda.
Yes, Mr.
Administrator
Chair, I
Almeda.
just would like to confirm, and I would like to take this opportunity to thank NGCP in the assistance given to Sherelco. I didn't mean to impute the fault to NGCP. As I mentioned, it was operated and owned by Sherelco, the submarine cable that is functioning. So that's all, Mr. Chair. Anyway, thank you, NGCP.
Thank you. So, yes. Thank you, Administrator Almeda. The Honorable Yusek Sharon Galin.
Mr. Chair, what happened to Siargao? I'm just comparing it to the Panay incident. Because that was also, it was not just a transmission, well, ERC still has to, but there were problems with generation also, in tandem with transmission also, Mr. Chair. This affected 5 provinces. Actually, nag-blackout yung buong Panay. Because of generation problems and also grid instability. So, that's how big an impact is if there is delay in the project, Mr. Chair. Kasi talagang these are Cebu Negros Panay was supposed to be finished in December 2020 under the 2016 TDP. Ngayon lang siya natapos ng March 2024. So things happened in between. No? I think since the one major distributor is here also, I think they can also relay what happened to them when the problem on the grid caused by probably several factors. Pero Panay also had this problem, Mr. Chair, and lahat po na players involved, pero I think grid also has a certain degree of culpability in that sense, sir. Si GM ba yung tawag? President Castro is here, Mr. Chair.
Is
aboard.
here? Yes. Mr. Castro, you may want to take a seat.